In our first story, President-elect Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is assuring Ghanaians of a fulfillment of all promises made prior to this year's polls. The President-elect Friday spent some time at the Obosilkai Mosque, where he joined the Vice President-elect Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia to offer prayers of thanksgiving to Allah for their victory at the polls a week ago. There's more in this report by Joseph Akaple.
The president-elect's visit to the mosque was the first since his election as president. Accompanied by Vice President-elect Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia and Acting General Secretary of the NPP, John Buedu, the president-elect and his team addressed Muslim congregants after the Friday prayers. Nana Akufo-Addo assured the congregants his government remains committed to achieving all promises made prior to the polls.
That peaceful coexistence is something that is basic to the peace and stability of our country. And we pray to Almighty God, long may it continue. The second is that all the things I told the people of Ghana, that God willing, if they voted for me, that I will do, I want to assure you, we are going to do all the things that we said we're going to do. Free secondary education, the revival of the National Health Insurance Scheme, the one district, one factory, one village, one dam, the Zongo Development Fund. All of these are matters that we are going to address and do to promote the welfare and the progress and prosperity of the people.
Vice President-elect Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, who also addressed the gathering, said the first budget to be prepared by the incoming government will have an amount set aside for the Zongo Development Fund.
First time in the history of Ghana, Zamukafa Zongo Development Fund.
There will be a Zongo Development Fund, and it will be provided in the first budget of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in 2017. If God permits, it will be provided in the budget. We will do a lot to bring jobs to our Zongo communities. Nana Akufo-Addo is expected to visit other identifiable groups to show appreciation in the coming days.
Now, the president-elect may have been buying himself some more time in firming up his list of men and women who make up his administration, perhaps because the lobbying has been intense. One of the key positions that needs to be filled before the swearing-in of the president-elect is Speaker of Parliament. One of the people tipped for the position is former 2nd MP Papa Owusu-Ankomah. In an exclusive interview with Joy News' Seth Kwame Boateng, the man, considered to be one of the most experienced MPs in Ghana's parliament, says he's done with constituency work and will fancy working as Speaker if selected.
I don't think that anyone can say that I'll be the next Speaker. No. All I can say is that if I get the opportunity to serve my party as a Speaker or in another way, I will do it.
Are you looking forward to getting that position?
Looking forward, I'll be honored to get that position. I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to it. It's a decision of the party generally, including all the wings and so forth. And when the party decides, I'll be honored to serve.
Have you been contacted yet?
Well, I can't say that.
Are some consultations going on?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know.
Nobody has approached Papa Owusu-Ankomah?
I wouldn't want to make any statement to that effect. All I can say is that in these things, it is the party's decision. And as a party person,
but how
decision, yes,
How did you feel when you heard in the media or social media that you are among some people, Nana Akufo-Addo or your party, will be considering for that position?
Well, I was struck with awe. I mean, really, not because I don't think I'm capable of doing it, but I felt like, well, really, if some members of my party considered me worthy of that position, then it's a great honor. It's a great honor.
All right, now Papu Nkrumah also dismissed suggestions that with 169 members of parliament making the majority, the House will become a rubber stamp for government policies.
I don't know what you mean by a rubber stamp.
Are you not just going to approve anything that comes from the executive without proper scrutiny?
I have had the opportunity of serving as a majority leader, a minister for parliamentary affairs in the early years of President Kufuor's administration. The fact is that no leader will want a government to be embarrassed. And there were occasions when, based on the advice by the majority leadership, government did not pursue certain matters. All right. You don't become a rubber stamp merely because you are supporting government's programs.
Now, Communications Director for the CPP in the Ashanti region, Kofi Osei, is disappointed at voters, including party members he describes as dishonest. He says hundreds of CPP card-bearing members and others who were bused to polling stations apparently never voted for the party. Mr. Osei cites Ahafua North constituency alone, where the party spent over 2,000 Ghana cedis on transportation for supposed loyalists. He says it is surprising the CPP managed only 99 votes in the presidential poll, while its parliamentary candidate got 54. Nana Ojima reports.
Mr. Osei says numbers recorded in some polling stations suggest even local party executives and their families voted in favor of other parties. He believes such deceptions accounts for dishonesty among politicians when they assume office.
Well, these are people who approach our party and said that, look, we are members of your party, we love your party, we are sympathizers of your party, and at the end of the day, we want to vote for you. But because of the bad economy, we cannot afford transportation. So if you can get us to the polling stations, we are going to vote for the party that we are affiliated with. So yes, we were expecting these people who came to us. We didn't go to them, they came to us. We are members of your party, we are sympathizers, we love your party, we want to go and vote for you. So just make sure that you transport us to the polling station so that we vote for you. And at the end of the day, you know, we transport these people to the polling stations and the results are bizarre. It is very, very unfortunate. Ghanaians, especially voters, should know when to be circumspect. They should be honest. The dishonesty in our society is too much. And if we don't take care, politicians and electorate will still be playing these blame games even 20 years after, you know, we're all gone. Because at the end of the day, people don't practice what they preach.
The number you transported, how many votes were you expecting from particular constituencies here in the
Well, we can't really quantify the number of people we sent to the polling station because in my constituency, which is Ahafua North, we bus about 300, 400 people to the various polling stations. And of course, we did this at the regional level as well. So you can imagine the number of people who were bused to these places to go and vote.
Meanwhile, Mr. Osei is calling on President-elect Nana Akufo-Addo to consider all inclusiveness in constituting his government.
Ivory Kwabena is a lawyer. If we want to decouple the Ministry of Justice from the Attorney General and we want an independent prosecutor or Attorney General, definitely I can recommend somebody like Ivory Kwabena, who is a lawyer. Apart from that, the Attorney General department is also there. If he is a lawyer and that is qualification, why not? If you want somebody who is an independent Attorney General and will make sure that at the end of the day, you know, there's no witch hunting, and then people who are prosecuted will be satisfied that this indeed is my crime and that's why I got punished for it. I can recommend somebody like what do you call it, Ivory Kwabena. Samia Yaban Nkrumah is very fluent in Arabic. If you want somebody to be an ambassador to say Saudi Arabia, Egypt, you can look at somebody like that. Apart from that, my own boy Ernesto Yeboah, you know, is very, you know, he has masters in communication. If you want anybody to be PR allow for either the Flagstaff House or, you know, any of those positions, you can consider these people. I myself, I'm an IT expert. You understand? That's what I did in the university. You know, I am not asking or lobbying for position, but what I am telling Nana Akufo-Addo is that it has been done before. J. Akufo did all-inclusive government, and he was successful.
Nanaya Ojima reporting. And
I'm Araba Kumsin. You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a short break, but still ahead in the bulletin, the World Bank Group commits $517 million in debt and guarantees to support Ghana's Sankofa gas project. We have details when we return. Don't go away.
Bibiara wa melko Luciano le melko Nofiano ye melko. What are you looking for? Melcom got it all. Great discount dodo. Yamafia so. Best bargains on our days. Everything here is a bargain. High quality, who's be a priority. So tell your mom, tell Poppy, tell your actually everybody.
Nivea Rich Nourishing Body Lotion has an enriched formula with essential almond oil to deeply nourish your skin for longer. There's no need to add extra oil. Nothing feels like the longer lasting care of Nivea Rich Nourishing Body Lotion. The best care for dry skin, also available in a rich body cream.
Welcome back. Now, the program coordinator of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, Victoria Adongo, has called on Parliament to implement policies that will enable farmers have access to quality seedlings. Speaking at a sensitization workshop on the way forward for peasant farmers, Madame Adongo mentioned aside land and fertilizer, farmers need basic units of land propagation, the most crucial input to agricultural production, because its scarcity makes it difficult for farmers to engage in any farming activity.
Peasant farmers across the country often complain about being neglected when it comes to issues concerning farmers. Victoria Adongo says farmers having access to quality seedlings is important, as certain clauses in the Plant Breeders Bill are not favorable to local breeders, which, if not addressed, would collapse the local seed industry. The Programs Office of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana says some of the clauses under the bill protect foreign breeders and give them the patent to bring in their own seed, which could affect the local seed industry and farmers negatively.
We are hoping that it will even be a better enterprise for smallholder farmers to improve their livelihoods, put and increase their incomes, and also even to achieve food security. So, but before you can achieve food security, it means you must be getting high yields. Before you can get income, money into your pocket, you must be able to sell what you are producing. And all these will depend on the input, what you put in to produce. And now we are looking at fertilizer and seed. So we are looking at the kind of seed that we are getting and the kind of fertilizer. Is it quality? Is it affordable? Is it accessible? So if these three are combined and the farmer is able to get this, to make the input together with good agronomic practices, we should be aiming at getting good yield.
Ms. Adongo has therefore called on all stakeholders to come together to enhance the bill for the betterment of all peasant farmers while improving food security in Ghana. On his part, agriculturist Thomas Havo revealed that the use of fertilizers in Ghana is generally low.
Now, this is supposed to inform the various policies on seeds and fertilizer, and we know of the Plant Breeders Act, which is before Parliament. So results from this report will be critical in informing policymakers on the right strategies that they should put in place. Now, we found out that still in Ghana, the use of fertilizers and modern seeds are on the low side. We found out that traditional mechanisms for accessing seeds are still the highest, right? Whilst on the part of fertilizer, the promotion of fertilizer for cocoa has been highly successful, right? The promotion of fertilizer for rice is highly successful, even though the rice, thing just started not long ago, probably 5-6 years ago. But right now, the uptake of fertilizer by rice farmers is very high. Maize farmers are the next, very high, and the veggies are also, there's a high usage, But on the majority, the cereals, maize and others, fertilizer usage is quite low. And fertilizer usage is highest in the 3 northern regions.
All right, now it's been a week since the Electoral Commission declared Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo winner of the 2016 presidential election. Who won what in the parliamentary election has, however, not been fully established, even though the two leading parties have been making claims as to the number of seats they each obtained. Now, Joy News can, however, establish that the New Patriotic Party obtained 169 seats, while the governing National Democratic Congress got 106, leaving the minor parties with nothing. The NPP gained 46 additional seats in 2016, whilst the NDC lost 42. My Joy Online editor, Malik Dabo, joins me with a breakdown for the various regions. Good evening, Malik. Good to see you as always.
Yeah, good to see you.
Well, so now the NDC and the NPP have been banding around the number of seats that they both obtained. We don't know who clearly got what, but tell us, you've been going through the figures. Let's start with the southern sector. Yes. And start with the central region, of course.
Let's start with the western.
The western region.
Let's start with the western region.
All right.
Remember that in the last election in the western region, the NDC dominated in this region. The NDC had 18 seats compared to the 8 seats of the NPP. There are 26 seats in 26 constituencies in this region.
Right.
NDC had 18, NPP had 8. Now look at the current figure after the elections. NPP now has 16, NDC has 10.
Wow.
That's for the western region.
Wow.
So NDC lost 8 seats in this region because they had 18, now they have 10.
Yes.
NPP had 8, now they have 16. So they've gained 8 seats more.
I see. That's quite interesting.
So that's for western region. If we go to the central region, in the central region, the NPP had 17 seats in this current parliament, 7 seats in this current parliament. And the NDC, remember that in this region as well, in the central region, there are 23 seats at stake. Out of the 23 seats, NPP had only 7. NDC had 16. After last week's election, NDC lost from 16 to 4. They lost 12 of their seats. NPP gained more. NPP now has 19 seats in the central region compared to 4 for the NDC in this region. So I think this is about the biggest loss for the NDC in the election, because if you had 16 seats in a region and now you have 12 seats lost
all gone
to the NPP.
Let's come to another swing region, the Greater Accra region.
Great, the Greater Accra region. In the Greater Accra region, NDC had 20 seats. NPP had 14 because there are 34 constituencies in this region. So NPP had 14. Now NPP has 21 seats in this region compared to the NDC's 13.
Wow.
So from 20 to 13, NDC lost 7 seats in the Greater Accra region to the NPP, which now has 21.
All right.
If we take the Volta region, of course, this is the so-called world
stronghold of the governing party.
NDC.
Yes.
NPP in the last election had 1 seat. NDC had 25, and it has remained so even in this election. NDC.
Is it the same seat that they retained, or?
No, it's not the same seat. This time around, they won Karachi East.
Okay.
Before the elections, they had planned that they were going to do 33. They wanted to obtain 30% of the popular vote and 3 seats. That didn't quite happen. They got just 1 seat, made minimal increases in their share.
Well, it is a stronghold of the NDC. It will take a while for them to break that jinx.
Absolutely.
Right.
So 25, NDC still maintain their 25 seats. MPP has their 1 seat in that region. Let's go to the Eastern region, which is a stronghold of the MPP.
Right.
The MPP in 2012 had 26 seats in this region. NDC had 7. And remember that when we're going into this election, the NDC said they were going to do 50-50.
Exactly.
Agenda 50-50.
Yes.
Great. Chimpe, that was the expression used. They wanted to take 50% of the seats of the vote, the popular vote, and they were targeting to get 14 seats in this region. That didn't quite happen. In fact, the MPP actually won one more seat.
Okay.
Yeah. From 21 seats, they now have 27 seats. The NDC lost 1. So instead of 7, they now have 6.
Okay.
So they were targeting 7 more seats to add to their 7, so that they will get 14. They lost actually 1 of the 7 they were holding, and that's Akwetia. Baba Jamal, we know that Baba Jamal, Deputy Trade Minister, Deputy Information Minister, and all of that, and he had been contesting this Akwetia seat for a long time before he managed to win it in the 2012.
Unfortunately, this time around he lost it.
He lost it again to the MPP. So NDC now has 6 seats in the Eastern region. MPP has 27.
But you know that we'll come to the Ashanti region soon, and I know that for the Ashanti region, the NDC had also targeted 1.5 million votes there, and they were hoping to get more seats there as well. So what was the outcome?
In fact, the popular vote they were targeting initially was 1 million.
Yes.
Because in the last election, they did 612,000.
Okay.
That was the number of votes that President John Mahama got in the 2012, like 612,000.
Okay.
They were hoping to increase that to 1 million.
Okay.
And then when they held their regional rally and saw the numbers, they were buoyed by the numbers or deceived, if you want. And they said, okay, they were now going to increase their share of votes to 1.5. That didn't quite happen. In fact, the president's share of votes actually fell down from 612,000 votes to 495,000 votes.
Interesting.
Yes.
But in terms of parliamentary seats, how did that pan out?
So this is the largest, the region with the largest number of constituencies in the country, 47 constituencies.
47, okay.
In the last election, NDC had 4 seats.
Okay.
MPP had 43.
Okay.
NDC lost 1 of their 4 seats. They now have 3 seats. MPP has 44 in this region.
Do we know which seats that was that they lost?
I don't quite have the exact figures, but we know that Asawasi is one of them.
Yes.
Asawasi does
the NDC retained that seat.
Yeah, Mutaka Mubarak's seat, and he's the majority chief whip in parliament now. Right. Very soon he will be minority. if he's still in the whip system, he will be a minority chief whip.
Exactly.
But so he retained his seat in the Asawasi. It was one of the most competitive seats. The MPP put up one Alhaji Ali Duseidu, who did extremely well. Actually,
he came close to winning.
Yes, he came very close.
In fact, I remember he wanted to contest the results, but I think that he gave up at the last time.
Yes. So let's go to another swing region, the Brown Ahafo. In the Brown Ahafo region, the MPP had 13 seats in the Brown Ahafo region compared to the NDC 16 seats. So MPP 13, NDC 16. After last week's election, MPP gained 7 more seats. They now have 20 seats.
Wow.
NDC lost 7 seats. They now have 9 seats in this region. So another big shift for the in the Brown Ahafo region. And we know what the reasons have been. DKM and all of these, Jasper and all of these microfinance scam that led to many people losing their life savings and all of that. So in the BA, that would have played a big role in the share of votes. So MPP increased their share of votes from 13 to 20 seats. NDC lost their 16 seats. They now have 9. Let's do Northern region.
Okay.
And you know the Northern region is, of course,
very popular with the NDC.
Of course, very popular with the NDC. And we remember Northern region, MPP in the 2008 election actually got 4 votes out of 31 votes.
Yes.
And then after 2012, the NPP...
4 votes? 4 seats.
4 constituencies.
They want 4 constituencies.
Out of 31.
Right. Yes.
Then in 2012, they actually increased that to 10.
Okay.
And we remember Johnson and Sidney Nketia, General Secretary of the NDC, charging the party leaders that it was unacceptable that the party lost 6 more seats to the NPP, and he charged them to work hard and reclaim those seats. Unfortunately for them, they actually lost more seats in the 2016 election. Right. The NPP now has 13 seats in that region compared to the 18 seats that the NDC has. Okay. So NDC actually lost some more seats to the NPP in the northern region. Clearly, there are some who are pointing to, you know, overtures made by Bawumia, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, the president-elect, the vice president-elect, you know, and the campaigning that he did in those the 3 regions of the north. That could have contributed to the votes that we're seeing they obtained. Yes, there's no doubt. Increase in the number of seats. There's no doubt about the stature and the contribution of Bawumia to the NPP's campaign. And I use this denominator. If you look at all the Mamprugu seats, and Bawumia is a Mamprushi, look at all the Mamprugu seats, apart from Yagaba Kubori, all the seats fell to all the Nalerugu, Gambaga, Walwali, all of those seats, they all fell to the NPP. And you can't discredit Bawumia's contribution in all of this. So he actually plays a big role, and he knows that that's his constituency, the 3 northern regions. So he spends an odious amount of time in these regions campaigning for the party. He sleeps in villages, he shares the lives of the people, he shares their concerns, he actually makes contributions, he drills boreholes, builds schools, builds toilet facilities for schools and all of that. So the people reward them by giving them these number of seats, because if consistently from 4 to 10, from 10 to 13, that's a gradual increase in the share of constituencies for the NPP in the region. Let's go to one of the Waterloos of the NPP, which is the Upper East region. In the Upper East region, in the 2012 election, the NPP had only 2 seats, and these were Talensi. We remember Talensi, Robert Nachinab, the man who became a chief, and eventually we had to do a by-election where BT Baba won, and then Nabdam, which is a Saga seat. He also lost it to Boniface Gambila, but they've lost both seats now, but they now have 3 seats. Oh, yes, they've lost 2 and gained 3. And gained 3 because Navrongo Central is back. Okay, what's his name? Dr. Kofi Ada. Yeah, Joseph Kofi Ada is back to Parliament. He beat Mark Woyongo in Navrongo Central to gain that seat back. So the NPP gained 1 more seat in the Upper East region. NDC had 12, they still have their 12. Because there are 13 constituencies in this region, 15 actually. Then Upper West, and this is the last region. And this is the most interesting one. Upper West traditionally votes NDC. In the 2012 elections, NPP had 0 seats in Upper West region. There are 11 seats in this, 11 constituencies in this region. The NDC won 10. An independent candidate, who of course is of NDC stock, won the other seats. So all 11 seats were off to the NDC. NPP had 0. Now watch what happens in this election. In last week's election, NPP won 5. 5 of the 11 seats in the region. Wow. We know that Anthony Cabo picked one of them. That's almost a split. Yes, almost a split in between. Anthony Cabo picked one of them, Ambrose Derry picked one of them, Godfrey Tango is back, Amidu Sulemana lost his seat, Sisala West, Sisala East, they also lost there. So Sisala West, Sisala East, Laura, Nandom, Wa East. What could account for this huge wave, I mean, of change? Well, a number of things. For Sisala West, I think Amidu Sulemana was just unpopular. He's held this seat for a long time. Amidu Sulemana was a regional minister. He was a regional minister. He's held this seat for a long time. He's been in this region. He started politics at a young age. He completed KNUST and was drafted into the PNDC. He became regional secretary, became regional minister. He went all the way up, lost the seat to the PNC, and then came back and reclaimed it, and then he's lost it again to the NPP. But as regional minister, he had all the resources at his disposal. Why would he then lose? Well, but that's also the thing. It's the thing that works against them, because once you are in the region and you have resources, people have a certain expectation, and sometimes the expectations are unreasonable. If you are unable to meet those expectations, then you suffer for it. And I think that's what happened in his case. People think that he just became too tired, too complacent, and so they voted against him. Why East was NPP won it in 2004, retained it in 2008, lost it in 2012, And then the same person who won it in 2004 and 2008, Godfrey Tango, was their candidate, who lost narrowly, in fact, to Amin. And you know that the NDC in their primaries in that constituency, Amin lost to the chieftaincy minister, Seydou Dana. Now the MPP has taken, Godfrey Tango has taken that seat back. We know Nandom, Ambrose Derry. Of course, we know Laura
Anthony Cabo.
Yes, Laura too. The incumbent went as independent. Abu Samson went as independent in that constituency.
I'm sure that split votes for the NDC.
That split votes between him and Bidzier then that allowed Anthony Cabo to win. So
there are still some constituencies which are being contested, aren't there? But we will get details on that, and we'll bring you that as and when we get them. But you're watching Joy News Prime. Thank you very much, Malika. And keep staying with us because we still have more news for you. We're taking a short break. Business is up next. Don't go away. You're welcome back. Now, a Kumasi High Court Commercial Division impounded 3 Toyota Hilux vehicles belonging to the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly last Friday. Other vehicles belonging to the Assembly are also due to suffer same fate later. The action follows an order for attachment issued by the court to Freku FD Enterprise to claim the movable properties of the Assembly for failing to respect the judgment of the court. The plaintiff, Freku FD Enterprise, in a writ filed on the 19th of November 2013, demanded a number of reliefs, which included the sum of 524,000 cedis, being the cost of solid waste collection from October 2007 to March 2010. They also demanded interest on the said amount at the prevailing bank rate from March 2010 to the date of final payment. But the defendant, KMA, contested the claims, insisting the plaintiff did not have a valid contract. Let's get more details of what transpired in court from a lawyer for the plaintiff, Shadrach Yeboah Obeng. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, madam.
So let's start off with proceedings in court. What happened in court today?
Well, as a matter of fact, it's not as if we went to court today. What happened this morning was that, pursuant to the judgment that had already been entered against KMA by the High Court Commercial Division Kumasi in February 2016, the plaintiff, Freku FD Enterprise Limited, commenced execution against KMA in respect of the said judgment. So it was this morning that the properties which had been attached in execution were actually seized by the bailiffs of the court as part of the execution process. So it's not as if we went to court to do any court business this morning or today.
Okay, so as we speak, the properties have been seized. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, 3 vehicles belonging to the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly have been taken over by the bailiffs of the court.
Beyond these 3 vehicles, are there any other properties the court allowed your parties to claim?
Yes, as at the time that we filed the rate of attachment, we indicated we were going to attach 6 vehicles, which were very specific with their registration numbers. In addition to that, we also indicated that we would attach any movable properties of the assembly. But it only happened that we were able to lay our hands on 3 of the vehicles. So we are still looking forward to having access to the other properties of the assembly. And when we are able to lay our hands on them, we would attach them in execution.
I see. Lawyer Shadrach Yeboah Obeng, for the benefit of those who may not know the background of how this came about, explain to us how it all started.
Well, the simple background that I can give is that the Assembly, Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, entered into an agreement with Freku FD Enterprise Limited to collect refuse from a place known as the KGTR Refuse Transfer Station. Those who are very familiar with Kumasi are aware of this place. And the company collected the refuse from October 2007. The arrangement was very simple. You collect the refuse, you send the refuse to a refuse dumping site, which had been designated by the assembly. You go there, they take records, Then over a period of time, they would indicate to you how much you are entitled to for the refuse collected. Then they prepare a certificate for you. You're supposed to be paid the amount indicated on the certificate. So my client did this from October 2007, and the judgment we had is up to June 2012. So the work that had been done for that period was what KMA was supposed to pay the amount involved to my client. KMA did not pay. My client served several demand notices on KMA to pay the amount involved. That was also not adhered to. So my client had no option than to take the matter to court. The company took the matter to court. We started with our evidence. The company gave evidence, called witnesses, tendered the agreements, and the other exhibits that proved that the work had been done, including the certificate that the assembly had issued to my client to evidence the assembly's indebtedness to my client. So when my client closed its case, it was left with the assembly to open its defense. There were a number of adjournments. The assembly could not come to open the defense. So finally, they came to court in the presence of their lawyer, in the presence of the waste management director for the assembly. They told the court that they were conceding to the claim because they virtually had no defense to say. So based on that, the court entered judgment against the assembly in February 2016. And they were supposed to have paid the judgment there long ago. And that has not been done up till now. That's why we had to go into execution. So in brief, that is the background of the case. But these are court processes, and everything is available at the registry of the
Very
court.
well.
Whoever wants,
very well. If I understand you
verify.
correctly, this matter is being litigated because you say your client is owed by the KMA. The KMA is contesting this. They're saying that, to the best of their knowledge, they don't have a contract with your client. How do you respond to that? Does your client have a contract with the KMA?
That is not exactly what KMA said. If you go through the court processes, you would notice that that was not the argument of KMA. KMA's point was that it was the Ministry of Local Government that was supposed to pay for the services rendered by my client and not KMA as an institution.
So why did you sue the KMA?
Yes, that's what I'm going to educate you on. Yeah. There was an issue about bringing the local government into the matter in respect of the claim that KMA had made, that it was the ministry that was supposed to pay. But that process could not succeed because it was very apparent on the face of the contract that the ministry had nothing to do with that. And the officers from the Attorney General's Department that came into the matter made that point very clear, that the ministry had no liability under the contract. It was a contract between KMA and my client, and KMA was solely responsible to my client for whatever liability that had accrued under the contract. So the court actually went into that matter and then resolved that the contract was between KMA and my client, and not my client and the ministry. It was KMA that had written letters to the ministry to ask for assistance from the ministry to enable it to pay the amount involved. And he couldn't get the assistance from the ministry. So it's not as if my client had any special contract with the ministry. The contract was with KMA and not the ministry.
Very well, thank you very much. That's lawyer Shadrach Yeboah Obeng. He is the lawyer for one of the firms contesting the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly. Now, Freco FD Enterprise in Kumasi. We're taking a short break. We'll be back with international news. Don't go away. Now, Bukom is a melting pot of diverse activities. From politics to sports, residents have it all. Unfortunately, though, poverty is rife in the area. Bukom falls within the Ododo-Diodio constituency, one of the places identified as hotspots. Tonight's roving reporter, Favor Nonu, joins me live from Bukom Square with more on how the people are getting together after elections. Hello, Favor. Good evening.
Hello,
so ahead of the elections, we were told by security experts that that was one of the areas that was identified as a flashpoint or a hotspot. In fact, during the elections, there were some issues there. But tell us, post-election, what's the atmosphere and the mood there?
Well, thank you, Araba. I've been here for the past 2 hours or so now, going through the various, areas within this particular Bukom area. I'm actually positioned now in Bese, which is under the Ododo constituency. We're aware that Nilante Van der Poel emerged victorious in that elections in the parliamentaries. Well, I've been engaging with some of the constituents, and I have 4 of them here. There's 2 of them representing the NPP, and then 2 of them on my left representing the NDC. Let me allow them to introduce themselves now. For the benefit of viewers who do not understand the Ga language, we're allowing them to speak in a language that they can express themselves easily. And I am one who can speak Ga, so I'll do the interpretation in brief. Ofana, introduce Anya.
Ofana, chome aloy moyoyo. And MPP new afio Ga in ye wale mi ojo ba den chedenche. Ni kewo kwe election e bonu wotele ke boni mebi. Just achome aloy moyoyo. Ni bonwe.
Achome Mr. T. Mr. T. And what's your name?
Jonathan Ayi.
Jonathan Ayi. And you are?
Ofana, achome Nathan Lampa. She man from chome obey.
Okay, so there you have it. So these 2 gentlemen on my right here are NPP supporters. The one on the extreme right is actually someone who happens to be an organizer. He's a very strong and staunch member of the party, as well as these 2 who are for the NDC. So let's start with the NDC. Numbwe, ni constituency name here, miniji events ni unfold after the election. Say take nye lifestyle can you live in your thing.
Ngona wa aga mwene nye joy news bi nye bomode nye shagbese ye ba bi wosan aga ben wo fe election e wo gbinane mami ejoko e shiji aga gbife gbiri oba na mogowo NDC atale ke ope FAB ona mogowo MPP atale ke ope FAB nagama jeri bi efe anu shijage amoto ne FAB a kete bi ke na bi puami na lomo ye wo gbese ne ani ebe ngberu.
So for those who do not understand the Ga language, what he's just saying is that the aftermath of the polls hasn't actually eased the tensions here within the Ododo constituency. According to him, for persons who put on the NDC t-shirt and make an attempt stepping out, you sometimes get bastardized. He says that the battle lines continue to remain. In spite of the tension that preceded these elections, it seems like it is still happening, and therefore they are hoping that things can actually go down and people can go about their various activities freely. That the division is even gone to the extent of dividing families and friends, etc. Let me speak to the NPP and find out what they make of the post-election environment. So what's that?
Actually, I like to express myself just a little in English. Here is Ododo, the NDC stronghold. But I am telling you the fact that when you wear MPP t-shirt, because of their stronghold, when you come out, they can insult you. I am telling you the fact. Because I'm automatically MPP man. The last time I am passing here in Bese, I didn't ask anybody question. But they throw the insult direct into me. So when we are talking the fact, here is Ododo and here is NDC stronghold. Here is not MPP stronghold. It's the NDC stronghold. But they are NDC majority here. If you come out, they can insult you. I'm telling you.
So, for you are blaming the NDC as being those who control this place, and therefore they are really starting all of these tensions. But what is the response that you actually put up when some of these things happen?
It's not about I'm blaming NDC. I'm blaming both parties, because some of the rules when you are passing there is MPP there. They can, when you wear NDC t-shirt, they will also insult you. But here is on street on Bese, majority are NDC. But when I'm talking about another street, there's MPP also there. When you are passing, they can insult you. So I'm not talking about both NDC. I'm talking about both parties. Okay. What they are doing here is not good.
So you heard in both parties throw insults and cast various aspersions at each other. Let me speak to you. After the elections, what are some of the things that you have observed as far as how you're managing the relationship here in the Ododo?
I want to speak my own language. After the election, I vote to Agbena. Now, I vote to election. I have rally to if it mom be fake thing no be na dream bad agashi ka vote be anu kedibe na vote ngo do na anu na vote Agbena mo kwa moni Agbena na chawi na agashi nye yebe moni nye president e ba no muwe na me nyema na me take omi ke ana no when this atali do ke oni ke no small boy ni ogbese la anu kwale wo ndis bi ni ogbese happen to black omo was small boy ni ogbese actually period when this Italian we bukono small aga chole mutana ne okaka ne ya na echu ekun.
If you don't understand what he's saying, he says that prior to the elections, the analysis was that this place was a hotspot, and therefore chances are that violence could erupt. But the elections went on smoothly. The challenge, though, is that after the elections, tensions rather set in. After a winner was declared, he is accusing that the NPP here is busy and they are dominantly NDC supporters. But for those of them who go through Bukom, where there's dominant NPP support there, he says a gentleman called T-Red, to a very large extent, was stabbed by allegedly NPP supporters from the Bukom area. And so these are some of the feelings or the sentiments and the environment, the tensions here within the Ododo constituency. When it happened, who did you report to? How did that issue settle?
I feel report to police station. President Tanu, okay, police go I feel reporting police go mutana na chun. Be na police no transfer. Ki I no police be am fan be an station shake mu amashi about transfer me no ka fe case ko jage sage. I mean yin se ke ba because mo fian won she transfer egbe.
So I just asked him that, so what did they do with respect to T-Red's situation, the alleged stabbing that happened? He says, well, the police didn't do much about it because the threats or the gossip in town is that if you're a policeman and you take actions against some of these persons who foment violence, you may get transferred to a different station that you're not happy about. I want us to talk about the peace situation. Chairman, what do you think, as constituents, we can do to bring peace in the constituency?
Well,
no
about Israel and Qualini. A jilbi nate, Milican people, you give me. Seeing Wokume fan this be so well. Get Milican Kenjipo, no Jamie, Bomoji Minjo, Chodi Minjo, Teddy Minjo, Info Dami. Eda ka means mon pon komenye e wo ka di mon kenye ba gomi din basa ke libi komeni ya no e bi ene ke ba fe beta nyemi ale nyemi bi ale nye ni bi ale che ko ni nyanyo wa ale nyanyo ko ni basa jin fe safo e ja ko nye wo hinshileke on ke ashi next 4 years dani wa ka vote ko nuk so jinshi bien ko na mi no je mi alo o je mami o je papa o je mi leke wo ko na mi o ba yen mi o che 6 months to come ale no ekwe loko ya hian bo no baba mi o je mi o yen mi obi o mi ni ji no le no fe.
Okay, so his point is that for him it's about ensuring that some of the basic principles that underpin our culture is sustained, knowing that you must respect the elderly, you must relate to your mother, your father, your brethren as one people. There's no need to allow division to become the mainstay of those who are in this place just because of politics. I just want to ask you, sir, what do you think you can do to bring back the unity in this place? Are there any activities, are there any things that in previous elections you do to bring back that unity that existed as common Ga people?
If I'm thinking, it's not hard because automatically in Ghana we are all one family. In Ododo especially, we are all one family. So we can unite just a simple way. We can organize some games and we can do, maybe we can unite. So I don't think that is very hard. It's not hard.
He's talking about games and all that. Assuming the NPP invites the NDC to a Saturday game, what would you do? Would you come through?
Oh, when they were fine, when you organize game, okay, JBFA, you feel near fee fine, you may allow me. You may not like me, no pan, you may like me, Bekin. First, be an alien quality, or cross of NDC or cross of variety, be a she this election in Iran. When PNG in Antiwana, a show of negotiation, a qualified, she never can be a GFA. A nego, you can't beg and be nego, you I didn't get big and be fame where you were JBM. When people you were JBM way. Now I'm beginning I'm can be a back, can 2G, Tramo can when you can actually recharge. No go below.
MPP, NDC, Oaya.
Only a Ogbasan no more, Jenny, be able to Ogbasan, and this can be Ogbasan no more, of your no more. What you only name it.
So what I'm asking them to do is to shake hands with each other and show a sign of unity amongst them. Ni ahawala la ko mo mini lala no wanya wala ganlala ko ni chonje ko me fe mo alono ko ni mo fe awon wanya la
galala ni ko me fe mo mi gan wo bo hwe ke wo bo hwe wo fe wo hele ono asenyeme wo ko akose ye abadafo so ya ko so ba ko ya kwa saso wo yemi no ni ete no ni bai wo yemi no ni ete no ni bai wo yemi o se wo yemi o se wo yemi no ni ete no ni bai wo yemi.
Well, thank you very much for staying with us. You're watching Joy News. We're coming to you live from Bese inside Odododiodo. My name is Favor Nunu. Over to you, Araba Kumsin.
Thank you very much, Favor Nunu. They're interacting with some residents of Bese in the Odododiodo constituency, and that peace song was very critical to ensure that their supporters actually ease tension amongst themselves. We're taking a short break, but when we return, we have entertainment for you. You don't want to miss it.